Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Lucy Superfox Show. This is my channel and my podcast. On today's episode, I'm going to be diving into a big buzzword at the moment and sharing maybe a controversial opinion on the word resilience and building resilience in your life and business. So without further ado, let's dive in. So the thing is about this word resilience, right? We're using it like it's something outside of us. We're saying, right, you need to cultivate this inner strength and resilience so that you can be, a warrior to life, so that you can build this massive business, so that you can be strong and not be affected by life's hardships. But what resilience actually is being used for and talked about in most personal development spaces and most entrepreneurial spaces is actually saying that when we are going through something difficult, that when we're being resilient, I actually would say we're probably bypassing and suppressing. Because resilience is about feeling safe enough to hold space for hardship and the good stuff and the easy stuff and the hard stuff. It's not a fighting attitude. It's not a winner's mentality. And I think most people are using the word resilience in place of what's really happening. And what's really happening is survival mode. What's really happening is that we are jumping into an aggressive need to fight, flight, fix, to protect, reject, redirect. And we're calling it resilience. And I know this because this is what I did. For years and years and years and years and years and years, I told the narrative that I was highly resilient. And if you'd met me and you'd got to know me, you'd have said, wow, she's such a resilient person. She's been through so much. She's gone through all these experiences and built this amazing life. She's so resilient. And don't get me wrong, I'm not diminishing the resilience I have and had built at those times. But what was really happening was survival mode. What was really happening was I was putting myself in environments that were scaring the bejesus out of me. And rather than that cultivating resilience and inner strength, what that was actually doing was causing me to run like my ass was on fire because I was terrified of not being successful, because I was terrified of it not working out, because I had no other option, because I was really unhappy in another area of my life. So everything was always being driven by a fear or by a survival mode versus actually being about cultivating and creating resilience. And I think this is what I really wish people would know, because there are so many women out there right now in the name of resilience who are burning themselves out, who are burning themselves to a crisp, right? In the name of being resilient. And actually what's happening is they are burning themselves out because they are bouncing between survival mode. So they're bouncing between that fight, flight energy. They're bouncing then into freeze and wondering why they're cooked. They're then bouncing themselves into form where they over apologize and ruminate and worry and want to people please, right? People pleasing is one of the most addictive cycles out there, side note. And we're calling it resilience when they bounce back. And actually what's happening is a constant perpetual cycle of burnout, of push, survival mode, no can do anymore, boom, freeze, burnout, can't do anything, fawn, oh God, I'm so sorry, oh no, I know I should be doing this right, right? And then back into survival mode. This is what hustle culture is built on. This is what narratives of hard work are built on. This is what achievement is built on. None of it is built on emotional resilience. It's built on burnout culture and using the name of resilience as the driving force, when actually what is happening is we are being driven by core fears, core beliefs, core wounds that are being poked at by societies, by cultures, by narratives, and by people. And this is why I wanted to do this podcast, because I used to think I was a resilient person. And when it all actually came crashing down, when there was no bounce back, when there was no, moving forward, when it honestly felt like I could not get through the day, I questioned, where did my resilience go? I used to be a resilient person. Where's it gone? And actually what I then was able to realize through healing, through growth, through challenging myself, through self-discovery. And actually, this real important side note here, there is a big difference between self-improvement and self-discovery. One is very addictive and one is very difficult. You choose, right? And I was addicted to self-improvement for a long time. And that addiction to self-improvement allowed me to mask, allowed me to believe and perceive that I was a resilient human, when actually what I was doing was constantly putting myself in scenarios, situations, business dynamics, emotional dynamics where I was actually in survival mode. And that's because that felt so familiar and so normal and so how I got shit done that if I wasn't in survival mode, I had no idea how to get stuff done. And so this narrative is actually creating this cultural cycle of burnout, of fight, flight energy in order to achieve something, and then freeze energy in order to recover. And that is not resilience. And that's also not real manifestation or creation, right? Real manifestation and creation is about becoming an energetic match for the thing that you desire, lining up with that thing that you desire, taking the action when it feels inspired and it feels good to you and you're on purpose and you're aligned, and then it manifesting and it being normal and safe for you. And that's how we jump to a new level and then we stay at said new level. The reason why we lose manifestations isn't some big spiritually deep concept. It's simply that either we weren't energetically ready for it, we weren't emotionally ready for it, or actually we created it out of an energy of hustle and struggle. And so without that continual cycle of hustle and struggle, we can't keep it. And a lot of business narratives are built on this, that you're only worthy if you work hard, that you're only going to be successful if you work hard. And so many women are so achievement driven with so much good girl trauma, with so many cycles in their nervous system already attached to their worth being outside of them. And then we throw in the word like, you need to be more resilient. Women are literally throwing themselves into everything they do in the name of resilience, in the name of hard work, in the name of success, and burning themselves out, and then wondering why all the things that they desire for themselves, the manifestations that they're craving and that they know that they're ready for, just don't show up or don't stay. And this is where I have a problem with when we use the word resilience out of context, right? Resilience isn't a skill that we find in our effort, right? Resilience is a skill and a way of being and a state of being. We become resilient, right, as human beings, as nervous systems, when we've done the inner processing to feel all the feelings that are in there. Because resilience isn't about just bouncing back from hard. Resilience is actually about feeling safe to feel all the good. I say to clients quite a lot of women are living in a really, really narrow realm of emotions. And so if you're looking and watching a video, you'll see I'm holding my hands quite close together. We're living between okay and just above okay and just under okay. And we're living in this tiny little bubble, because if we live in this tiny little spectrum or bubble, that allows us to be relatively safe. And if we're to feel something beyond this realm, so either to feel angst, pain, suffering, grief right down this end, that's massively uncomfortable. Our nervous system doesn't know how to feel that. But equally, if it doesn't know how to feel that, then it doesn't know how to feel joy, elation, extreme abundance. It doesn't know how to let go and enjoy. It doesn't know how to embrace. It probably doesn't even know how to have, the most fantastic orgasm of its life. Because if we don't know how to let go and feel safe to let go, right, which is also resilience, then we also don't know how to feel safe and let go and feel and really process our emotions on the other spectrum of like grief when something happened. And so we live in this tiny, narrow little bubble or space around emotional capacity. And then under the name of resilience, we keep ourselves here. And actually resilience is about having the nervous system capacity and the safety within the nervous system to feel the full length, the full breadth, the full width. And it doesn't happen overnight. I wouldn't even say that at this point, after being kind of 5 years deep into my kind of healing journey, my transformational journey, my expansion journey, whatever word vibes with you. And a side note here, we don't ever get healed or recovered. In the words of Gabor Mate, it's just the pursuit of feeling whole. Right? I wouldn't even say that I'm particularly, I wouldn't say I'm fully resilient yet, on the end of positive being over here and negative of being over here, if we're being divisive and saying things are one or the other. But the spectrum of how I live my life, the emotional scale of how I live my life is broader. And it's broader because I created safety inside my nervous system. And the safety is what creates the resilience. Resilience isn't created in dysregulation. Resilience isn't created in burnout. Resilience isn't created in a hustle culture mindset that keeps killing your soul, your creativity, and your nervous system every single time. Resilience is cultivated in doing the inner stuff so that we feel safe to be ourselves, so that we feel safe to be authentic, so that we feel safe to take off the masks and all the versions of us we think we need to be, so that we can become, like I said, on that pursuit to wholeness, that pursuit of authenticity. That's where resilience is created. Sure, we can do hard things in the word of Glennon Doyle, and those hard things help us realize we can do more hard things. And I'm all for it. But we don't have to do hard things because we need to be resilient, right? Hard things are going to happen to us. Hard things are going to happen for all of us when we lose someone, when we have to grieve, when we experience loss, when we, go through life's challenges, because life isn't, an easy road for all of us. That being said, we forge resilience inside of us, but we can only do that when we feel safe inside of us. We cannot create resilience when we are in a constant state of fight or survival. We can only create real resilience, which is a stable, solid foundation of who we know that we are. And almost like that, we could stand in the wind and the wind could blow us around and we've got that solid ground. That solid ground is not created in a fight flight energy. It's not created in a freeze, shut down, contraction energy. It's created when we are stood in the depths of our inner stuff and we know that we are still okay and we decide that we are still good enough and we know that we are worthy. Resilience is not a word to band around like something people should be more of. When you shame people into not being resilient, what you're basically saying to them is, you can't handle it. And actually, maybe they're not supposed to handle it. Maybe they're at a point in their life where actually their work is to be soft. Their time is to be reflecting on their pain and wounds and things that they need to heal in order for them to move forward. Not everybody is designed to be a warrior, both from a human design perspective and also their soul's journey and purpose, and also what they desire. So this constant narrative that I keep seeing in the entrepreneurial spaces, in the fitness spaces, in the network marketing space, in the building a business space, is that we need to be more resilient. I'm like, no, we need to be more ourselves, because when we are more ourselves and we feel more safe to be ourselves and we stop shaming others for not being more like us or more like them or more like how you want them to be, what you allow people to do is become more resilient because it feels more safe to be them. This is why I have to be, my thoughts therapist always said to me, you are absolutely a lone wolf. And for a long time, I went down a route of not necessarily wanting that to be the case, of wanting to be part of big cliques and big groups and big connect. I wanted that. I felt like I needed that. I felt like I was missing out on my feminine journey or my ability to, be an entrepreneur if I wasn't in all these circles. And actually what I have realized so deeply recently is like, I am a lone wolf because I want to just do me and learn about me and expand me. And then as that serves and helps and grows others, as I connect with people who are on the same path as me or a path that feels aligned with me, then I love hanging out with them. Like, you guys know, I spend so much time talking about to my friend Sarah. We are so aligned in so many ways and so not aligned in so many ways. And that's why we do some things together and not everything together in business. My husband and I are aligned in so many ways and not in others. My family and I are aligned in so many ways and not in others. And the people I do choose to spend my time with are aligned in some ways and not in others. But here's the thing, what's happening to me now is the layers have fallen away so fast because I did that inner stuff, because I found that inner safety, because I was focused on what I wanted to do for me rather than driving myself forward in a constant perpetual cycle of burnout in the name of resilience. Resilience is forged when we feel what we need to feel, when we deal with what we need to deal with, when we heal what we need to heal. And when we do those things and we feel safe to be ourselves, we feel safe to become our fullest, truest, authentic, most beautiful self, right? Whether it's ugly to other people or not, that's resilience. And so this is where I absolutely know my narratives push against the grain of so much of what is happening right now. So many narratives that are living like they are true and alive on social media, in cultures, in societies, and I am done with it. And I am over it. And I am not afraid to speak how I really feel. I'm not afraid to speak my truth anymore. Side note, it's funny that I also no longer have thyroid issues. Not a coincidence, is it? When physical issues manifest in our body because of emotional issues that we haven't processed, again, that's where resilience is forged. And so this is where right now, if you are caught in this perpetual cycle of only being able to create and move and drive in this energy of hustle, in this energy of survival, in this energy of like, then what happens is you are going to constantly and perpetually burn out. You will not be building resilience in that. You will be building more nervous system dysregulation. And so there may be a period in your business or life where you have to take a beat, where you have to sit back, where you have to sit with the uncomfortable feelings that come up when you're not hustling and struggling and in survival mode. And I was here for like a year. It took me time to actually think, can I create from any other kind of energy? Can I be successful from any other kind of energy? Can I even, get clients from any other kind of energy? And you know what, Hans? You know what? On the other side of that beat, when I could recreate and feel safe into the belief that it wasn't either or, I could be successful and be rested. I could be wealthy and be rested. I could be happy and be rested. And that there was no hustle culture required, no toxic narratives around what I should do and what was the right thing to do and be successful. That's when the magic happened. My business is in a more successful place now, a more aligned place now, a more on purpose place now, because I took some time out. Had I not taken the time out, I would probably still be going down a track that wasn't the track that felt the best, that wasn't the most optimal for me, that wasn't one that felt most magic and most aligned. And so if you are caught in this perpetual cycle, then I promise you, under the name of resilience, right? Because you need to be more resilient and you need to prove yourself and you need to prove your worth. I promise you, it's not at the end of some magic resilient rainbow, right? Resilience is forged in nervous system safety, and nervous system safety is found when we feel safe to heal, to feel, and to deal with the things that we haven't been healing, feeling, and dealing with. So if you're ready to break the cycle, today is actually, when this goes live, the very last day of Cycle Breaker. That will be the last time Cycle Breaker, the 21-day challenge to breaking the cycle of being stuck, is open in 2025. This will not reopen until 2026. So if you want to find out more about the challenge, you can go to lucysuperfox.com/addiction. If you want to join the Heal Workshop, where we break down why addiction of any kind, cycles of all types, are not about choice and are about both automatic programming and the need to escape, then you can get that workshop by going to lucysuperfox.com/heal, and you can find the links in the show notes. So I hope you've loved this episode. I have some very exciting stuff coming for you over the next few weeks. If you are an entrepreneur, if you are in the business space, if you are building a business, you're building wealth, and you're building your authentic self, then I have something very special. It's a brand new program that I am launching in June. The name and all the details to be revealed soon. This program has been a birthing and a product of the growth in my business, the transformation in my authenticity, my ability to build things from alignment. And I want to share that with you. I want to give you those tools so that you can stop this perpetual cycle that is keeping you stuck, that's driving you forward in the direction that I promise you is not going to find some beautiful mystical happiness at the end of a unicorn rainbow under the name of being resilient. So that's it for this episode. Cannot wait to see you on the next one. Don't forget, you can join the challenge and the Heal Workshop with the links in the show notes, and very exciting news and a new program coming soon. So I'll see you on the next episode.